All right, let's jump right in. In this explainer, we're going to deconstruct a really specific technique called Method 00, and everything we're about to cover comes straight from the source material.
So, the source material kicks things off with this really famous quote: "I think, so I am." Why start here? Well, it's all about setting the stage for this core idea. This idea that the you who's doing the thinking is something totally separate from, the physical world around you.
Okay, here's our game plan. We're going to start with this idea of a spirit called the thetan. Then we'll look at static versus anti-static. After that, we'll get into the method itself, Method 00, see it in action, and finally, figure out what the real win is supposed to be. All right, first things first, we have to tackle a huge question. What exactly is a human being? And according to the source material we're looking at, the answer is probably not what you think. It's not the body you see when you look in the mirror. So this spiritual being, it's called a thetan. The idea is that this is the real you, your actual consciousness. It's this entity that's completely, totally separate from your physical body. The source describes it as pure spirit, something with no mass, no energy, no location, none of the stuff we're used to in the physical world. And to really drive this point home, the text gives us this pretty wild analogy. It says, the body is like a splinter in the thetan. Think about that for a second. It's just this temporary, kind of foreign object that your true self happens to be interacting with. Okay, so now that we have this idea of the thetan, let's see how it fits into a bigger picture. Because this whole framework is built around a central conflict, a kind of clash between two totally opposite realities. And this chart really lays it all out. On the left, you've got static. That's the Tantan's home turf, right? No mass, no wavelength, no time, no position, just being. Then on the right, you have anti-static, and that's everything else, the physical universe, the incidents that have mass, happen in time, and exist in space. And the core idea here is that our true self, the static, gets all tangled up in this anti-static world. So you have this conflict, right? The static self versus the anti-static world. So what do you do about it? Well, this is where a specific technique from 2005 comes into play. It's called Method 00, and its whole reason for being is to help a person deal with this exact conflict. And what's interesting is that this wasn't always the approach. If you look at this timeline, back in the 50s, the focus was all on mental pictures. But by 2005, with Method 00, the game totally changed. The new goal was something different, to achieve a static exterior viewpoint. The idea was to get someone completely outside of whatever incident they were dealing with. So how does it work? It's broken down into these 5 steps. You can see the first 4 are all about picking apart the anti-static bits of a memory. The mass, the wavelengths, the different moments in time. You're basically deconstructing it. And then comes the 5th and most important step, shifting your viewpoint from being in the incident to being totally outside of it. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because theory is one thing, but what does this actually look like in practice? We're about to walk through a transcribed session between a practitioner named Claudio and a guy named Roger. We're going to see Method 00 in action. So Roger comes in with this problem. He says, going out of home, in the stairs, I slide and fell on the back, and it is still very painful. It's not just some old memory for him, he feels stuck in it. The pain is still there. So Claudio gets to work, guiding Roger through those first few steps we talked about. He has him identify all those anti-static parts of the incident. Where were you? In the stairs. What mass were you aware of? The body. He has him recall the wavelengths, a ray of sun, the sound of the fall, the fear, and even the different moments in time, the foot sliding, the back hitting, that moment of realization. But then they get to that final step, and Roger gets stuck. He just can't do it. He says, I don't succeed, how can I see it? He's really struggling to find that viewpoint from outside the event. And this is a really key moment. Claudio clarifies something crucial. He explains that an exterior viewpoint isn't like you're just rewatching a movie of what happened. No, it has to be truly static, a perception with no beings, no wavelengths, no motion, a totally still, timeless observation of the scene with all the energy just gone. And after that explanation, something just clicks for Roger. All of a sudden, he gets it. He starts being able to adopt these different viewpoints outside of his body. He says, I am high above the body, close from ceiling, and I see the body sliding. He sees it from behind, from near his foot. He's doing it. And this shift in perspective, it leads to this incredible wow
moment. You can just feel the release. It's a total aha moment of insight and relief for him.
And what did he see from this new viewpoint? He says, I saw really what happened. There was a small piece of paper under the shoes. From outside the incident, he spots something he was totally oblivious to when he was in it, a tiny piece of paper that made him slip. For Roger, this is the reason he fell.
But hang on, because here comes the twist. According to the practitioner, Claudio, finding that piece of paper, that's not the real win here. That's not actually the point of the whole exercise. That's just the surface level story.
So let's break this down. The surface explanation is, oh, I saw the paper and that's why I feel better. But the deeper truth, according to the source, the relief didn't come from the new information. It came from reassuming a cause point. It's about a fundamental shift. Roger went from being the effect of the fall to being a cause over his perception of it. It's not about remembering, it's about discharging the energy by taking a new position. And this idea ties right back into a foundational concept from L. Ron Hubbard. The quote explains it perfectly. As a Thetan, now perceiving from an exterior viewpoint, he regains awareness of himself. The whole point of getting that outside perspective is so the Thetan, the real you, can remember what it is, a spiritual being, separate from the body and the physical universe or messed. Which really leaves us with this huge, central question that's at the heart of this whole technique. What is the difference between just remembering something and truly perceiving it from the outside? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our reality can we change, not by going back and changing the past, but just by changing our vantage point on it right now?